At this time, we have several guests with us this evening that I would like to recognize. All are veterans and members of various veterans organizations within our city. And I would like, if they would, they're here with a certain mission in their heart and on their minds. Would you all please stand up and be recognized at this time? We would appreciate you. So give these folks a round of applause. Thank you. This next item is an item that has been bannered around through these organizations and by these organizations for a number of years, and they have come to the point of making a proposal to the city or a request of the city. So at this time, Mr. Heffley, would you state your name and organization, please?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Bill Heffley. I'm the Secretary for the River Valley Coalition, and my service organization is the Marine Corps League, Lake Dardanelle Detachment 1310. And I am accompanied by a lot of veterans tonight. Mr. Mayor already introduced everyone, so we don't have to do that again. But I would like to introduce Pat Stanley. She's the chair of the Military Coalition, and she's also the VSO. So, Patricia, stand up. And then Bob Molden is the vice chair of the River Valley Coalition, so Military Coalition. We have, in this valley, we have, in Pope County, we have 5,237 veterans. This is per the VSO account of 2012. The 2005-2009 indicated there were 5,182 veterans here. The local CBOC, that's the community-based outreach clinic, which is our veterans clinic, serves 2,300 veterans. The source for that is the clinic director there, Martha. We have, and this depends on which source you look at on the internet, but we have, one said 65 recognized cemeteries in Pope County. Another one says 169. We realize that there's a great difference there, but a lot of these are real small cemeteries up in the mountains along the creeks. And almost without exception, these have tombstones dating back there indicating that people served in wars for the last 150 to 200 years. And the interesting thing about that is almost without exception, these veterans have ties to other human beings somewhere in the valley or somewhere in the form of family, wives, grandchildren, husbands, aunts, uncles, cousins, co-workers, that list goes on and on. And most of the folks in this room have at one time witnessed the tragedies that veterans experience, and also their successes, a lot of successes here. When the mayor asked for the veterans to stand up, we have veterans on the council, and I'd like to, for my edification, I'd like to have the veterans on the council stand up again, if you will, please. Most of you, or some of you may have experienced, and I'm going to go through this really fast because I promised some of the guys that I wouldn't cry up here, but from time to time we experience as veterans knowing someone that actually never came back. There's a fellow from Russellville, his name is Don Morley. He has a grave here, but he's not here. We don't know where he is. There are several other veterans that kind of have the same experience. They're buried overseas, or we have no clue where they're buried, or if they're buried. The thing that seems to be common around here, and I think pretty much everyone, at least on television or at a funeral, and some of these guys go to funerals almost on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis, is the presentation of the flag to the widow or family member. the flag of the United States of America. And so, and this list goes on, and I won't mention any more because I don't want to embarrass myself by crying, but I would also have the city council crying, I'm sure. Tonight, I'm here on the behalf of the Veterans Coalition, the River Valley Veterans Coalition. We have a twofold purpose. One is to make the council aware that we're seeking to establish a memorial dedicated to the veterans of the River Valley. We've discussed this extensively at our meetings in the past, and we feel that it's our duty to do this. It's out of respect for the council and out of courtesy to the council that we do this. We've had Betsy McGuire from Main Street, Russellville, attend our meetings, one meeting, and she had some ideas and some locations in that vicinity of the Depot Park downtown, and they might be worthy of some further discussion at some point. We're aware that there's a park, and it's named Veterans Park. We're also aware that not too many veterans go there. There's no ceremonies there. It's not centrally located, and if you have other questions about that, I would probably defer that to the chief of police. He's sitting here. So, the courthouse has a marker in front of it. It's in front of a very busy intersection. It's a very nice marker. We had a meeting yesterday. After the meeting, I went up there, and it was kind of like deja vu because it says something to the effect that Pope County residents recognize all veterans of all wars and honor them, and it's kind of an all-inclusive memorial there, and it's really nice. But it's like we've discussed. It's in the middle of that intersection, and there's no bench or anything to sit on. You can go by and read it and go on. But there's also a marker at the Old Gardner Junior High. I believe it has World War II veterans located on it. I'm not sure about that. I looked at it years and years ago. There's a possibility that it could be either relocated or replicated. We actually had someone go out and look at it. They said that there's a possibility that if you start messing with it, it would crumble, and that would be the end of it. But we can take pictures and replicate the thing if we needed to. We don't have a concrete location for the memorial, and that's the second item on our agenda. We're seeking suggestions and input in the process. I have talked to the county judge. I know some of this property that was mentioned by Betsy McGuire is county property, and some of it's railroad property. There's other properties in town. Several other properties have been discussed for other things, but we want something that's kind of centrally located. Our goal is a memorial that represents our veterans, one that's highly visible and represents Russellville and the River Valley in a dignified manner and a respectful manner. We would like, we walked up the stairs tonight, but we would like something that's handicap accessible, parking that's close to it. An awful lot of our guys are in chairs or real close to being in chairs. They have difficulty climbing stairs and that sort of thing. I realize we have an elevator here, but no, they're too manly and too macho to use them. We want a place where a person could go and kind of reflect on the meaning of freedom and the price that it extracts from the veterans. And with that, I know you guys would kind of like to see some ideas. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Kimball for a few minutes, and then if you'll give me, Mr. Mayor, just 2 minutes after he talks, I can close this out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Heffley.
Thank you. I have some pictures here that were taken of a veterans memorial in a small town in western Oklahoma, population 800. These pictures do not necessarily depict what we want to do, but it gives you an idea of what a small community, when it comes together, can accomplish. And I'll pass these along, and I'll continue my dissertation while they're being passed along in order to save time. The coalition, with the support of all veterans organizations, is asking for ideas and a location where outside displays of large military equipment and appropriate walls of honor can be placed. names of local veterans and previous residents who become veterans can be easily found and viewed by anyone interested in seeing their loved ones, family members, relatives, ancestors, etc., recognized for their service. A well-planned and organized wall with names on each brick will make this possible. With these displays, we hope to attract tourists and add interest in the downtown area while honoring our veterans. With these displays, we hope to find a location where a building could be bought or built with plenty of adjacent room for large displays and convenient benches. This building could be used to enhance the Veterans Memorial in many ways. For example, a location to organize veterans events, or provide scheduled presentations for school children, or provide protection from the weather for valuable items, and so forth. That's all I have to say at this time. Any comments about those pictures? As I say, they're not necessarily a blueprint for what we would do, but they're similar. Those bricks were sold for $100 a piece, and the community, even though it was a small community, had no problem in raising that amount of money. If you'll notice on one of those pictures, it shows that a community club had provided one of the displays.
I did notice that there was a coincidence in those pictures, that one of those names was Alan Kimball. I found that to be just a great coincidence there.
Well, you probably can't tell from the display, but there's a whole row of Kimballs there, starting with World War I. And that could be promoted here within the Russellville area. I'm sure there are families who would like to have their names placed together with their relatives that have.
Do y'all have some, I mean, do you have some sort of, the beginnings of what it is you might like to have? I mean, some specific type of a memorial, or what size? I mean, somewhere that gives us something to look at.
Thank you. To accomplish our purpose, we would need, or would like to have, I should say, quite a bit of space, because we would like to have the building there, or a building that I previously mentioned, and room for parking for tourists and other local persons who would like to view the displays. And as you notice, that entire display, even with the military weapons and the walls of honor, really does not require that much space. I might add that that space was donated by a classmate's father of mine, who graduated the same time I did. So the space was donated, but the American Legion and the VFW clubs, together with civic clubs, were able to raise the amount of money that was necessary to build this monument.
I think, Mr. Irwin, right now, the primary thing would be to find a suitable site
That's correct.
for this, and then the plan would be developed if we could identify. And I think that's one of the things that the groups that are represented here tonight are concerned about, is the fact that we do have a Veterans Park as dedicated, but I think that they're less than happy with its location and so on that way. And they're looking.
Better than it used to be.
It is better, much better than it used to be. But they're looking for suggestions, I think, and possible recommendations from the council that can come back to them and see what we might can do along that line. Did I state that correctly, Mr. Kimball?
We're here tonight to ask for suggestions, not to ask for money, but to ask for suggestions. If you know of a place, an area that might be available, and it would provide the necessary space, we would certainly like to be aware of it, and we would like your help to try to talk to the individual who owns it and maybe work out a deal with them of some sort. It's
All right.
ideas that we're looking for to help us.
So these pictures, Mr. Kimball, are all outdoor, but you're talking about housing something inside, or maybe inside and outside.
I'm sorry, I'm a little
The-
bit
the-
hard of hearing.
The pictures depict things that are outside, but what you're looking for is a building to house some kind of memorial, or do you want a combination inside and outside?
Thank you. Our combination would be desirable. In other words, we would like a display, something similar to what you see in the pictures, together with a building where we could meet and, as I said earlier, we could provide scheduled presentations for school children. And we can organize veterans events there. We really don't have such a location right now. And we would prefer that it be within the downtown area so that when it encourages tourists, when they see these displays, to stop and maybe spend some money here with some of the merchants. That location out there that is now called Veterans Park is not centrally located. In fact, I moved here in 1966, and it was several years before I knew there was a park there, and it was several more years before I realized it was called Veterans Park. So it really is not an appropriate location for what we're trying to do.
Any other questions for Mr. Kimball or any of the other members who are here? Ms. Cahoon, would you like to step forward, please? Would you please speak to the microphone, please, ma'am, so we can hear you?
I was wondering if this effort had any connection with the group that's trying to do a museum or...
I didn't hear.
I've been reading it.
She asked, I believe, was this in connection with the group that's trying to promote the museum, military museum in town? That's my understanding. There is no connection.
It was not our intention tonight to mention that subject, but since it's been brought up, I do have some comments in that regard.
Any other?
Kimball,
Go ahead, Mr. Irvin.
I don't know that, I don't know that that comments are necessary, but I think actually I'm satisfied that we've got, at least enough information to operate with if we know anything. If we
I do
know
too.
anything. Downtown, somewhere in the downtown area be preferable, you think?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes. I think it would be beneficial to the city, the city itself, to bring in tourist interest into that area.
All right.
Does the lady still want to?
No, I think that was
We
the
just
only
dropped the
question.
subject?
That was the
Okay.
only question, Mr.
Good.
Kimball. Anybody, Mr. Heffley or any other members from this group? Anything else? All right, go ahead.
I think we took care of most of that. We just didn't want to surprise the council with, hey, we're building this thing and we need building permits and we're not here to ask for money or anything tonight. We just want to keep the council in the loop. And our next meeting is on June the 11th at the Seabach, and that's at 8 o'clock in the morning. If city council members would like to attend, that would be great. And on May the 26th, there's a Memorial Day celebration, 10 a.m. That's at Depot Park. And at that point, you will see the Depot Park transformed, although temporarily, into a very impressive memorial. And then it'll be all gone by about 12 or 12:30. So if y'all, I'd really like to see every council member there at that meeting. On behalf of the...
I'm sorry, where's the meeting gonna be on the 11th?
On the 11th, it's at the Veterans Clinic, the Seabach.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Out behind the Lord
I'm
Junior.
well familiar with it, yes.
Yes, sir, and if you can attend, or any member that can attend, it'd be great. We'd love to have you there, and gives you a little better handle on the various personalities that we are a coalition. We're comprised of a number of entities there that all are very opinionated, and so we have a good time. I see some of them are laughing, but probably the most opinionated ones in the group. So
Any other questions for Mr. Heffley on this topic?
Thank you for your time, and God bless America.
Well, I'm glad we help you out.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all of you who came in support of this, and we hope to be able to move forward with a positive step in this thing. So, thanks again. All right, you're welcome.